Hello guys, this is Rico Rodriguez here. So we're starting a little bit over, right? So first of all, thanks for joining our webinar session. So this is a coder series with a chatbot and commerce. So let me introduce myself first. So my name is Rico Rodriguez. I'm a solution architect for Visa, working from Miami. Actually, more dedicated to LAC market. And I'm part of the VDP, which stands for Visa Developer Platform team. So basically the idea today, the agenda is the webinar, right, itself, and a quick review. We go first of all for a quick review with the VDP, and later start talking about the chatbot, right? So we're gonna have the Q&A session, right, by the end of this presentation. And also we start to have like the poll questions, some questions for you, okay? So forward. So basically, just trying to give some context first. So we started like 2016 with a VDP, which stands for Visa Developer Platform Initiative, which the idea is pretty much, exposing existing and new Visa network services through the API, right? So those Visa services are defined in the few categories, like, for example, fraud and risk, offering benefits, and others. I really encourage you to go to the developer.visa.com. You can find out more details about these APIs, right? Not just for that one that I have mentioned to you, but you have, like, for example, roughly 50 APIs available, right, that you can play with. So, for example, if you like to establish, like, for example, card spending controls, you can use one example is the VTC, which stands for Visa Transaction Controls. So this API actually enables you to create some specific controls in your card, like, for example, okay, I got here my card, and I don't want to allow this card making any purchase at this type of store, for example, e-commerce, or you have different types of controls that you can apply. So, like I said, there are several types of services which those are available through the VDP, Visa Developer Platform. And again, I would encourage you to take a look at the VDP website. Also, you can explore more details about on our VDP community, right? So, which has some past webinars and presentations recorded. For example, if you want to get more details about connectivity, how to establish connectivity, some good tips regarding architecture, and yeah, you can find a lot of details in our community. Really encourage you to visit. And for sure, after the session, for example, if you have any question about it, just let me know. We can iterate using this community, right? So we from Visa are helping, guys to discover how you can leverage these resources, powered by, world's largest payment network. So basically, our mission, right? So going forward for the next slide, so I have a question, so a poll question for you guys. So have you ever integrated an API in a chatbot? Please just, you can pick one of the answers. I'm gonna give you a couple of seconds. Okay. Okay, that's good. So we have 27.8% yes, so 72.2% with no. Yeah, so I think that it will be just make sure that we can give you a good introduction about how integrated with a chatbot. Actually have different ways to do that. So I'll give you some tips. Those are not just, you can find a different, for example, types of API to do that, but I'll give you some ideas how to do that using our APIs, right? So, okay, let's get started then with our chatbot using the FX rate APIs, right? So let me give you first a very brief introduction about the FX rate concept. Okay. So basically the chatbot here, so what is a chatbot, right? So I think that's the first question we got here. So the chatbot is just like, for example, you got your Messenger, your WhatsApp, you got different types of application, right? So if you want to use those applications to establish connectivity and, start interacting actually with your end customer, you can do so using the chatbot, right? So we believe that according to some market research that, roughly 25% of customer services and support will be done by a chatbot, right? So this is happening. You can explore a few examples, very cool examples in the internet. For example, you can go eBay. I have done myself. So 1,800 flowers. So you can do pretty much everything using our chatbot, right? So the challenge here is now, about enhancing the cardholder experience, right, using this amazing communication channel, right? So how am I supposed to give more, enhancing the cardholder experience then? So you can see on the right side of your screen, the presentation, we have integrated the VTC that I have just mentioned by, the beginning of this presentation, which is like you can either, block or unblock your cards. For example, I'm traveling abroad and I realize that, I just lost my plastic cards. So this is the case that you can use a chatbot, right? And just authenticate first, just make sure that the bank knows who you are, and then you can just, hey, can you please block your card? So this is the example we got on the right side of this presentation, right? So that's pretty much what we got here. So that's the basic concept of a chatbot. It doesn't apply not only necessarily with the payment. It can be, much more than just a payment world. But we agree that it's a good tool that we can leverage better experience with the cardholders in this channel, which is a chatbot, right? So after watching this webinar, the idea is you guys will be able to learn how to configure, the VDP certificate and your VDP environment and set up a Facebook Messenger account. Like I said before, it's not necessarily has to do with the Facebook Messenger. You can use any other social media that you like to. So, but anyway, in this example, we are using the Facebook Messenger. So set up also and configure the chatbot service in your local machine. So we're going to spend a couple of minutes doing that. And just one important note here regarding, most of the tools and the requirements here, they're open source tools, right? So Visa, we strongly recommend that explore different tools, but those are the, that we are using for this webinar as just an example, right? Okay, just moving forward, then let me talk a little bit about the FX rate and why we're going to use it. So basically, FX rate, which is the API for foreign exchange rates, it's about delivering more insights to your customer, right? So as a benefit, the customer can be, well informed of the daily currency conversion rate before completing a cross-border or multi-currency transaction. So basically, this information, Visa provides this information, right, from the network, and developers who wants to use that can just take this information and display directly, for example, in an app. So I have chosen this API. Essentially, it has just one API endpoint, so it's fairly easy to implement and to configure. And for this webinar, we have roughly maybe 40 minutes. So, however, if you want to apply the same concept, discuss it during this webinar for any other type of API, right? For example, I'm going to use ATM Locator, which is available through the VDP Visa Developer platform as well. you're free to go. So you can use the same concept and apply for different APIs, right? So lastly here, what do we got? Basically, okay, let's gonna start our session, live code session. That was just the introduction first. And those are basically the ingredients, right? So we got for this live coding session. So first of all, I'm going to show you a little bit about the VDP account, what I have created, right? So how you can navigate through VDP and just create your account. It's super, straightforward. You're gonna need as well developer account, Facebook. So it's free. I mean, you can just go right there and just create your developer account, right? You have to, choose which your favorite programming language. In my case, I'm going to use PHP. We do have a couple of examples available in the VDP website, the Visit Developer website. I can guide you through some examples to how to establish connectivity using different languages. You're going to need as well the Chatbot framework, right? So, or even implementing your own APIs, right? For example, in my case, since I'm going to use it, Facebook Messenger, I have two options, right? Either implement it myself, the API integration with the Facebook, or using like a, existing framework available. In my case, I'm going to use Botman, which is, and in my case, I think it's pretty easy to use it. This framework, it's free. You can just download it, install it, and use it, right? So, and also, lastly, here we're gonna need as well the HTTPS tunneling tool for listening your chatbot requests. So, since I'm going to start this, live coding in my local machine, so that's why you're gonna need some HTTPS tunneling. Again, it's not required to use this one that I'm suggesting to you, and G-Rock. You can use any other one or even implement it yourself, okay, your own listener. Okay, so having said that, so we're gonna start our live coding. I'm gonna start sharing my screen. Just 1 second here. Okay, I think now you were able to see my screen, right? So let's get started then, right? So basically here, I will navigate first to the VDP, right? Just developer. So this is essentially, basically we got here the VDP, right? This is a developer website. And okay, I'm going just to sign in first. So I have my existing account in VDP. So I just created, I mean, in my case, I just have my account, right? But you just have to create it, like just put your email, and you can register yourself. So here I got, for example, 2 projects in my dashboard. So I'm gonna pick one, right? So for this project, which we are talking about now, I have just created 2 APIs, right? So if I want to add any different APIs, I can do so. Just click on here on the right side, add APIs. You can pick whatever you want. You have, like I said before, plenty of products with different APIs that, really encourage you guys to take a look at. We'll see probably some APIs which fits very good on your case, right? So in my case, then I'm gonna use foreign exchange. So like I said, it's very simple API, just one endpoint here. And also I got some credentials. Let's navigate through the credentials. So basically here I get my credentials to use it. Essentially, to establish connectivity with the VDP, you have to set up your HTTPS certificate, right? So we have the sandbox environment, so which makes it easier. So you can just create an account, start playing with a sandbox, and here we go, you get your user ID and have to download your certificate, right? In my case, what I do first, so for example, I can use some, client request, for example, SOAP UI or any other client that you'd like to use, and then establish first connectivity through VDP. We got some, methods that you can use, for example, hello world. Just make sure connectivity is place, something like that. Yeah. So we have some safe state as well. So basically, I'm navigating through the sandbox environment here. So basically, you're gonna need it, right, to use those parameters, right? Let me show you a little bit how it works. So with for an Exchange API, oops, there we go. I got here the Swagger, so I can, just check here the endpoint, right? So this is my endpoint that I'm going to use. I will show you later what it's configured on my application. So you get the body in order to request it. Even you can simulate the request, right, through the VDP. There we go. That's what I'm doing now. So basically, I got the request coming from, and there we go. So you can do a lot of things with the VDP, right? So you can simulate, you get all details here about in all those parameters available in your request. You can get more details. Sometimes, probably you're gonna need more information how to handle that. So we are more than happy to help with. So just let us know. And then, okay, so basically we have, this is the first step, right? So I got set up my account, right? So let me show you how it works. Okay, in the meantime, loading my SOAP UI, I'd like to share with you how I can do the results here. Okay, then we got the second step would be the developer account Facebook, right? So this is my developer account Facebook. I just created a profile here. And then once I just created, I have created this application, which is the Chatbot for texting, right? So, and it's pretty straightforward. You have to fill out some information, start with your configuration. So you have to just make sure you got your application ID. You have to create your, share it secret on the right side here. You have to put a name, also email. Also, you have to do that. So it's very straightforward. But the one thing which is quite important here is the webhooks, right? So after just setting up here, it will be everything green, you will see, and the webhooks. Webhooks is something that, in my case, I have to change it all the time when I want to start doing the test, right? So the webhooks actually is nothing but where the chatbot request will coming out and send the request to my local machine, right? So that's my endpoint, right? So let's assume, for example, Facebook is talking to me, so Facebook has to send a message to me, right? So this is the endpoint where the Facebook will reach out. So, and for that, I have set up here the mgrok. This is nothing but a listener where you can see that I have the same address on the forwarding for HTTPS. So that's what I have done. Essentially, I just copied my HTTPS here and just paste here, right? And also you can try to simulate. You can try to simulate as well if the request is working. So I'll talk a little bit later about this part. But this is essentially some verification code that you have to set up as a verification token, right? Let me just copy and paste. Okay. There we go. Okay, so basically here, so I will just give you an example how it works. I think this part's very important just to get that idea. So there we go. So let me come back here. So basically what I did, I just put here my address, right? My listener is the same, you can see. This is the application. I'm going to show you a little bit how it works my PHP application, but this is where my application server is working, right? And now, so this is the verification, the token, which is basically, just a token number, just make sure my authenticity, right? So there we go. I have just created an example. It's gonna take a while, but probably it's gonna get error supposedly to see the request coming from here. So yeah, I can do it from, for example, send a test because it was already set up. Come on. There we go. So basically, those are both requests coming through, right? So hopefully you get the idea. But basically, I have configured here my Facebook account, right? Where is that? My Facebook account, using my listener, right? That's same address here. And I'm just listening these requests. So it's like simulating Messenger sent to me a request, which is basically pretty much like the chatbot sending to my chatbot framework request, right? So then you can see the request coming through here. So in other words, it's essentially we can see that connectivity is working, right? So you're able to start, having your communication in place. So basically, we talked about first, just quick remember first, so about our VDP account, right, with the FX rate. Secondly, we got set up our Facebook developer account. It's pretty easy. Just have to, like I said, fill out some information here, and then what's the important part, just make sure your webhooks is right configured and pointing out to your server. That's my server. I run it on my local machine, right? And basically, I can see the transactions coming through, right? Okay, having said that, we go for the next step, which is the application server, right? So the application server, in my case, I'm using the uniform server. So this is the application that I'm using. It's not required to use that one. Again, you can use even Champ or different, or even create your own application server if you want to. It's right. So this is my example, trying to speed up things. Just make sure you can see everything. So there we go. That's my application server. It's already running. Just make sure you have configured your PHP libraries, right? This is quite important. Sometimes you have to do some tweaks to configure your PHP. And you have to make sure that you are able to, say hello world in your PHP server, right? So once that I have just set up my application, then I start creating my chatbot. There we go. Let's start talking about the chatbot. So this is my directory where my application server hosts my application. And this is essentially my application. Let me open on a different one. Yeah. So this is my chatbot application running, right? So starting here, we got the Botman, right? Botman actually is a PHP framework that you can install it, right, and just import all libraries. So that's what I did. So basically, I installed Botman. Let me show you a little bit the Botman framework. So this is the website. So if you want to just, you have all instructions here how to work with the Botman, even install it. Documentation, it's quite good. It's you have plenty of information available. You have some requirements, for example, PHP. You know, it has to be at least 7 version, and also you get all details about installation, how to do that, right? So it's in my case, it was very straightforward. I haven't had any problems with that. And also you got a couple of examples, right, how to start working with your chatbot. So that's what I did. So basically, first of all, I have just imported this library here. So I got everything working in my case. And I start, my code. So first of all, I have just created my class, right? So this class, it contains pretty much everything what I need to create my chatbot. So this is the Botman configuration, right? So this is basically, it's important to emphasize, to highlight as well that with the Botman, you cannot either integrate with a Facebook Messenger, but also you can integrate with a different, different social medias. So with a Facebook, basically, you have to create this object here. So, and just create this token. So let me show you where I did get this token number. So this is basically a token what I got on my Facebook account. So there we go. Where's that? Messenger, I think it's right here. There we go. That's it. So basically, you're going to generate your token right here, right? So I have to choose your application. You can see your token, which is the same token that I have displayed here. So you got your app secret, right? So your app secret, it's also on your configuration. So basically, those are the credentials, right, to establish connectivity with Facebook, right? So you got your secret here. So if you want to, for sure, this is just for examples, right? So that's why I'm storing those values in a clear text. So this is not the best practices. But anyway, we strongly recommend you to use any kind of, data in order to any kind of, encryption or any method. Don't give it clear. But since it's like for just demonstration with you guys, that's why this is not my concern for this presentation, right? So this is also the verification code like I did before. So basically use this verification code to establish connectivity, right, with webhooks. So when you come to the webhooks, and you start your configuration. Remember, this is my endpoint here. This is the verification token that you have to put. So you have to make sure this one here is the same that you just created here, right? So, okay, so basically this is my configuration, right? So, and I have to load first the driver, right? So the Facebook driver. If you have a different social media, you have to load a different driver in this case, right? So, and then I start created the instance here using this configuration. So that's why in my case, Botman works very well. I think it's very straightforward too. Like I don't have to do too much thing in order to, start using the API connectivity with a messenger. So, okay, once create my object here, so I got my Botman object here, right? So I have to start having interactions with the chatbots, right? So basically what I have done, the first interaction was like, okay, if I just type it hello, the chatbot will reply to you, hello, welcome to the Visa FX rate convert to, right? If you want to use different, I would say features, you can use it. Botman has a lot of features. I just put here the type, which simulates someone typing it, right? So you can use any other, features if you like to. So, but in my case here, for this example, when I type hello, I'm going to receive this a message. Let's try it out. So I got my messenger here, right? So this is my account here. So let's try it out. So I will type hello. Okay, that works. So you can see the chatbot just replied to me. Hello, welcome to Visa FX rate convert to. Please enter the source country code, destination country code, and amount, right? So, and then you're gonna get the rate conversion, right? So that's our objective for this webinar session. So then I have created the second here. It's like my second interaction, I would say, is like I go into, just capture what you have typed in your chatbot, which is origin, the currency, origin, destination currency, and amount then, right? So once that I just create that, I will call a different method, which is the VDP connection, VDP FX rate, then we'll start working on that. So which is, I have created this function here, which I get currency, right? So once that you just type here, like we have in your tool, so enter your source code, I will just get those values here, 3 values, and pass through the VDP. So essentially here we got, this is the VDP part in our project, right? So I got all variables set up here. Again, this is just for demonstration, so that's why everything pretty much clear text, but we strongly recommend you to work in a different way. We got other webinars and other, articles in our community that explains much better how to use VDP microservice architecture concept, which gives you its scale. In terms of scale, it's much better implemented that. So, but for demonstration, I have just created this basic, VDP, integration, code. So basically here I got, okay, my certificate files, I got my endpoint, right? Then I got my password, please do not copy it, my user ID, authentication strings that you have to do in order to, establish connectivity with the VDP. So in case you need proxy, you can do it, the configuration like that. Okay, and this is basically here I got my JSON, right? So you can see I'm using this JSON in sandbox environment, which is like just for example, and I will populate those fields here on the JSON body, right? So once that I just create the whole payload here, I will start setting up my curl. I'm using the curl library in the PHP, so you can use any other HTTP library too if you like to, but in my case I'm using curl. So I just set up here this curl request and just populate it by the end with the payload, right, which is the content that I just captured in the chatbot. Once I just sent this request to the VDP, and then I just display it, right? So let's see how that works. So let's start from the scratch. So basically, remember I have two interactions, right? So the first interaction is hello, what I have just seen right here. The second interaction, let's start the fallback first. So everything what I type here, which is not in neither one of these cases, it will like reply that to me. So let's say blah, blah, blah. So the chatbot will reply to me, sorry, I didn't understand these comments, please retype again. Then I'm going to use my chatbot to convert using the VDP, right? So in my case here, I got this example. I will say, okay, I have, it's like, okay, how about that? Okay, I have to type the source first, which is USD, right? So USD, destination, I'm gonna use Russian, and amount 100. There we go. That's the result. So basically here, this is the VDP. So basically my chatbot just captured what I have typed, right? And then, okay, just capture what I have typed and gave me the conversion rates, which is 5.59. And this is actually a sandbox environment, so probably this number, it's not correct because we are just playing with some sandbox environment, right? So once you go to prediction, you can play with the different countries and using different currencies as well, and you see different values for sure. So, but this is pretty much what I have done, right? So if you, basically this is the integration with the chatbot. We have just created the account, right? Just quick remember what we have done. So basically we just created the VDP account first with that FX. We created our developer Facebook account, right? So it's for free again. So just go right there, set up your account. You have to do some configurations, like I said, for example, the webhooks, and also just take some, tokens and some stuff right there. We have to make just a very simple configuration right there. So we have just also created our application server, right? So which I'm using the uniform server, but again, you can use Champ or any other, application server like to. I just got also the Chatbot framework, which is the Botman, right? So I have just installed it inside of my application server. And also I got the HTTPS tunneling too, which is the NGRock. So basically those are the main steps. Yeah, so that's the main steps. So, and hopefully you like it. Just let me know for sure. We encourage you to keep having conversation with the Visa using our community platform if you have any questions about it. So, and we're gonna open to our Q&A sessions, right? So just let me know, if you have any questions, okay? Okay, so I got first question from Armando. Do you leverage third-party APIs vendor to integrate with the FB Messenger, Facebook Messenger, or other chat clients? Also, what other chat clients are supported. Yeah, so basically, yeah, in this case, for this presentation, I'm using the Botman, right, which is, third-party API vendor. There is, in the internet, you can find plenty of third-party APIs available that. Also, you can integrate even using Botman, right? So you can use a different, you can integrate with a different chat or social media. Yeah. What's the I got from Meyer Hein. So what's the URL handle of your chatbot? So yeah, so basically I got the first URL, which is in the Vita developer website. So this is the first URL that we will handle, which is the FX, right? And also I got the URL, which is my local machine URL. So basically this is, I got it from the listener, which is the ngRock. Okay, so we got basically two URLs configuration in the chatbot. Are you, okay, so I got another question from Armando. It's like, are you using Bearer token for authentication? So basically in my case, I'm using two authentications. Good question, by the way. So first of all, I'm using we have two different endpoints, right, that we are integrated essentially. So the first endpoint, I would say VDP, right, Visa Developer Platform. For that one, I'm using basically HTTPS connection and certificates. I have to download it and using the sandbox environment. And also you have to convert your user and password on base 64, right? So that's essentially what we are doing on the VDP part. Regarding to the Facebook, actually I'm using the what they are offering in terms of authentication part. So they have the tokens, right, with the Facebook, yeah, connection. Oh, okay, good question. So I got here Matt Wick, right, from Visa. The question is, can you explain again how your Messenger browser is connecting to your localhost? Yeah, I know this is a trick part. That's why I spend most of the time explaining that, but yeah, I know this is a little bit tricky. So basically what I have done, right, so I got the listener, right, so which in my case I use it, the ngRock. So this is listener actually is basically installed in my local computer here. So, and it like using this listener, he opens like, he gives you like a temporary access to internet, and we're gonna need it as well, the HTTPS connection. So using ngRock, he will like manage this part for you using your local host. And once that he's just, sent you, hey, this is our URL, you have to configure this URL, that you just get it on the ngRock and configure directly in the Facebook account. Okay. I'm pulling it up here. Just 1 second. I will show you again the connectivity part, how it works. Okay, I'm gonna start sharing my screen again. Okay. Okay. So basically, let me show you a little bit, how it works. So basically here, this is the application, right, that I was telling you. Again, let me start over this application. You can just download it and just run in this application again. Here we're gonna like give me this weird URL, right? So you can see here HTTPS connection. So basically, I'm exposing my local machine to the internet. For example, configured in the webhook session, right? Because essentially webhooks is like it's the gateway from the Facebook where they're going to send you the chatbot requests, right? So what I did, I just created here so you can see that's my endpoint, and I have just copy paste. So that's what I'm doing. I have to use as well this where's it right here? Yeah, the verification code, it has to be the same. So okay, so if there is no error page, so it says that the connection had been established. So basically you can see they just sent me a request here. So this is how I establish connectivity with the Facebook and my local machine. I got a question from Javier Castillo. Is how much the use of this API per request per session? Good question, Javier. So basically, we got it's per API request, right? So this is how we do, right? So we don't handle any kind of session in this case. It's just for requests. So that's a different topic. Maybe we can address in a different webinar for sure. Is telling you guys a little bit about how to start working with the VDP as well, because some APIs you can see like it's for free. For example, some APIs we have to some API price specifically. So yep. So I got a question from Bernard Chiresi. So which NLP are you using? How can I create my own intents? Can I just get API to consume your NIP in the link, my own backend? And do you have development environment? Yeah, for sure. You can create your own intents. You can use your development environment, like I said before. So BDP, we have like sandbox environment. So basically, yeah, you can create sandbox environment to set up your account, create your own requests. Again, another question from Jose Rodriguez is, could you repeat, where did you get the cert files? Okay, no problem, Jose. So the cert files, actually, you can, once they just created your VDP account, right? So they will display you a page where you have to download it. So just make sure you do it, because otherwise you have to create another account. So yeah, just be careful with that. But after creating your account, you'll be able to download it. I get one more from Sudhir Kulkarni. It's, can FX API support compound rates? No, not really. Just actually, okay, meaning asking two currency rates in one question. No, not really. Usually what I have done is like you're gonna need to generate two requests, and but not two currencies in the same request. I got one more from Hain Mayur. Is, can you demo the integration with the Facebook with.a to handle an NLP? Yeah, we can, maybe in another session we can do it for sure, and let's connect to the community for sure. I can help you out on that, okay? Okay, guys, so I think we have done. So thanks again for joining the session. Hope you like it. So let's connect through the community for sure. So if you have any questions about and any other interest use case I'd like to hear about it, for example, okay, let's start, integrated with, Alexa or something else. So yeah, I'm more than happy to help you guys with. Okay. Hope you like it. Have a nice one. Bye.